I mean, yeah, that could be a whole nother podcast, no doubt. Like the leader you want to follow, for like the leader we want to have, is somebody that is self-aware and is more of a coach than a boss. So I think those are two threads that I'm seeing from leaders top to bottom that are at a deficit, when they are not self-aware and they have the wrong leadership posture. Generations before or decades before, like my parents' generation, perfectly okay with a great manager or a great boss. And there's still some place for that. I'm not saying that there's not room for somebody saying, hey, here's the call, here's where we need to go. That there's a place for that. But I think the young leaders that I see that I'm so fired up about, like they want a coach, and coaching will get you where bossing will never take you. When you've got a coach mentality, you're saying, hey, I'm for you. I want the best for you. I want to bring the best out of you. And I want to just have your back and champion what God's doing in your life. My boss title right now is a stewardship of your leadership. And so the best way to do that is I want to be a coach to you. I want to support you. And that doesn't mean that I run from hard conversations. It means I run to them because I want what's best for that person. I don't want that issue or that skill set to hold that person back. So I think as leaders, we have to become better coaches, and better coaches ask better questions, and they have the posture of a coach, not a boss. So I think that's one piece. And it's hard to be a good coach if you're not self-aware. Like if you're not aware of what it's like on the other side of you're at a deficit, and you're always going to be forcing everybody to adapt to you, or kind of just accept the unhealthy version of you. And we all have an unhealthy things about us. What's dangerous is if we're not aware of that. And so just today was coaching a communications director going through a leadership assessment called Leading from Your Strengths by Ministry Insights. It's one of my favorites. I love Enneagram, Working Genius. Like all of those have a place. But this one in particular is really, really powerful because it gives you the context of what your leadership is like in a team environment and what your strengths are, what strengths you bring to the team, and how you're having to adapt in your current environment. So I love walking through that. And her feedback was just like, I feel so seen. Everything nice. About it was like, I just feel so seen. Because it just speaks to the tensions, and it acknowledges that, hey, I have, on my best days, God's wired me with some really powerful strengths that if I can harness that, I can do powerful things in ministry. But if I'm not aware of my weaknesses, I'm not aware of what triggers me when I'm under stress, or what happens when I don't have enough time, or if I don't have, enough time to balance people with tasks, or whatever it is. These are the ugly things that come out. And so, that old game Whack-A-Mole, like the arcade game.
Yeah.
I kind of think of self-awareness. I think of stupid visuals, but that's the visual I think of with self-awareness. Like bad things are going to pop up and good things. Yeah, and so if we're not self-aware of the bad things, like we're not going to know how to whack it down when it happens.
Right.
Yeah. That's kind of what we have to do. And if we don't know, if we're blind to it, we're going to be that person that everybody, walks out of a meeting with and says, oh, bless their heart. Yeah. Like they have no idea, And so that's, we probably have names or ideas of people that come to mind on that, especially in a church setting, that because of their positional authority, they think that they don't have to be self-aware because everybody has to adapt to them. But the call to us as leaders is actually we are self-aware enough to know who we are and who we aren't. And then we get to invite other people around us to actually say, hey, we're in this together. We're a team. I'm not all that. I have weaknesses. That's why I have this person. That's why I have this person on my team to help bring the best out of us together.
So Phil, real quick, I know Caleb's winding up for a question, but do you have one step for the person listening? What's one little simple step that they could take towards self-awareness as a leader? Like just one little thing they could do right now.
I would honestly, I would do an assessment, like do something, do an assessment, like get something objective like that. Enneagram, leading from your strengths. Do something that will that doesn't care about your thoughts about it. You just like and then invite feedback. Like ask the question, hey, where can I grow as a leader? How did you feel at the end of this meeting? You know, what's it like on the other side of me? Like if you don't ask it, you're not going to get it. But if you ask it and fight back from it, you're definitely not self-aware, because you're like that's another issue. But if you as a leader feel like you can invite that feedback from others, and the people you lead look to you to say, hey, I can bring my attentions to them and I'm not going to get fired. I can actually, we can work closer together. Guess what that does for that person? Like time and time again, when I've asked it, they've asked the same thing. They've said, hey, what's it like on the other side of me? You know, on that. So we don't have to be perfect. Nobody's expecting us to be, you know, so we've got to invite the conversation. So do some assessments. I'll give you 2. Do that and ask the questions.
And I do think there's something really valuable about going to someone you trust, whether that's a mentor or a friend that's not just going to be a yes man, maybe even your spouse. Maybe this is a marriage. This is a marriage podcast all along. I think if you have that trust and you can have that conversation without letting your defensiveness put up a wall between you and the feedback, like I feel like that's a good step to take.
Phil, the more you talk, the more that I'm realizing the secret to building healthy teams is to build healthy people and then put those people on teams, right?
Yeah.
Like making sure that individuals are self-aware of their own problems and personalities and all that kind of things, and they sort of self-regulate. It's not that hard to put good teams together of people who know how to do that kind of thing.
Exactly. Nailed it.